And we are live on the Kingsley Grant show. And today we are in for a treat as we're going to talk about how to have a backup plan. Do you have a backup plan for your life, for your business, for something that is important to you? Well, I find that backup plans are so important. I remember when I lost all my hard drive one time, I wished I had a backup plan then. Boy, I tell you, it would have saved me so much and disastrous thoughts and depression. You name it, whatever you would call it. That's what I went through. So today we're going to speak about then how do you prevent? What are some things you may want to do? Best practice when it comes to backing up for your business. So before we get there, I want to introduce to you, we have a special guest today, and you're going to hear her talk about this idea of what you can do. What is the best way? What is it you maybe want to do to have a good night's sleep when it comes to your business? To have a peace of mind when it comes to your business? Because, God forbid something happens. Then what? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today on this show. And we have a special guest who will speak about that. And she'll tell you a little bit more about herself. So let's welcome to the show today my guest, Miriam Valentine. Miriam, how are you doing today?
Hi, Kingsley. Hi, everyone. Thank you very much. I'm doing great and I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you so much for the invitation and for sharing your audience with me
Yeah,
to spread my message.
well, what better person to share my audience with than you? Because I've watched you, I've seen the things you have posted, I've seen your growth, and I'm thinking, you know what? I think this message needs to get far and wide because so many people need to hear this, especially those who have a business and you're a solopreneur and you're trying to get things going. And if you know this as I do, and we many of us do, when you don't have a big team behind you, you can have some systems in place that serves as a team kind of um, plan for you. So that's what we're going to be doing. So Miriam, I think your message is very pertinent and important, and that's why I have you here today. So tell us a little bit about how did you get to this place where you think we as business owners need to have a backup plan?
Sure. Just to clarify, because many people have it's not a wrong concept, but the backup plan as we know it is for the computer, for your files and stuff like that. I'm talking about a plan B in case that you are not able to work in your business or on your business for a certain period of time. If something were to happen to you, if you got sick, have surgery, and you're in hospital for several weeks or even months. So that is the kind of backup plan we're talking about. Just to clarify that.
Yeah,
So
I'm glad you did that because I think sometimes we hear the word backup and our minds goes to computers
computer.
or this or
Yeah.
that. So I'm glad you clarified that because yeah, it's so easy to have that general go-to definition that we hear so often. So thank you for bringing that in and making that clear so we can know where we're going in this conversation today.
So coming back to your question, why do online business owners need a backup plan? Well, I mean, I can answer that with three questions. What do you do if you're not able to work? What happens to your clients? Will there still be money coming in? What happens to your recurring bills and business expenses? So do you have a plan for that? So that's why I've made it my mission, because it's so important to inform and educate online business owners that they need to have a backup plan. And I mean, look at the times we're living in, pandemics, and God knows what else is
Mhm,
coming next.
mhm.
So anything can happen at any time. So that's why it's so important to protect not only ourselves, but especially our business, because it's our baby. We spend so many hours, so much energies, time, money in our business, that why don't we think of protecting it? We think of doing a testament, a will. We look at what happens to our house, our car, our children, our pets, but nobody, or not so many people think of what happens to their business.
Mhm.
So that's why I think it's so important to get my message out there.
I think that's very interesting because sometimes we don't think about these things. We know we need them. We know they're important, but sometimes we just don't know where to go, where to start. And in that case, we just kind of even overlook or forget that it's something that we need to pay attention to before we have a catastrophe, before something goes wrong, before we get sick, before, God forbid something happen that's catastrophic and we just don't know where to go. So I'm glad that you are bringing this to the table because I think we need to hear. So someone like myself is thinking about a backup plan. If you can tell me one or two things that would be beneficiary. So let's just talk about, I know you mentioned in your statement just now some things. I want to kind of be more specific here. If you could give me one or two things or three that you would say would be very specific and beneficial to me as this business owner, if say God forbid something goes wrong, I get sick or just whatever happens, what might be my first thing that I'm saying, hey, you know what? I need that.
Well, every business owner and business is, of course, very individual, So, but as a rule of thumb, there are four basic situations which we are going to look at in my boot camp. So, the very first thing you need to do as a business owner is have a backup buddy, or actually I call it person of trust.
I like that.
Someone that will set in motion your backup plan and look that and take care that your backup plan is being executed. So that's the very, very first thing any business owner needs to. Well, that's the first step in my backup plan, actually. So yeah,
Mm,
that's a must. Because I mean, if you can't do it, then you have to have somebody that does it for you. So
mm.
yeah, that's the most important step to
Now,
take.
so I'm sure you're not talking about just anybody, right? It has to be somebody who has some kind of skill, some kind of idea of what a business may need, right? So you're speaking specifically of a person that have some understanding. Would that be a fair assessment here?
Well, see, that's I don't want to say problem, but say, for example, solopreneurs. If you work in your business all by yourself, you don't have a VA or anybody you delegate to, then your option would be a spouse, a partner, best friend, sibling. And of course, it would be beneficial if they have some kind of knowledge of entrepreneurship, if they're computer literate, or at least that they are familiar with, or not familiar, that they're comfortable with taking difficult decisions. That's so to speak. So yeah, as a solopreneur, you are limited, but it's not impossible. But
Mm.
it's a little bit more complicated to set up your backup plan, because if you don't have any, like a business buddy, or somebody that because I, for example, I have a business buddy and we talk almost every day, and I trust her, and we know about each other's business, and she
Ah,
does the same as me. So that's not a problem. She can, if something happened to me, she has my backup plan and she can set it in motion. But if you're a solopreneur and really encapsulated in your bubble, and you don't have a, I don't know, a network of other like-minded entrepreneurs, or one or two specific people that you the most obvious option would be someone in your family.
I think that's so important, and I think what you just said, though, I really like, Miriam, because you mentioned about having someone you can be talking to and updating about your business, because that I think is important, right? So they have an interest and they'll see the importance of wanting to serve as that accountability partner, right? Because they are being
Exactly.
updated. They're not a stranger to your business, so they will be more have a buy-in. So I like the idea, for that person to, like you said, talking to that person regularly, updating them. They have an idea of what's going on in your business. It makes it more, it creates an interest on their part to want to see your business succeed, and even making certain that everything that needs to happen. So I really like that part of what you just described, having an ongoing interaction with that person who have a vested interest basically in something that you're interested in, and see it as a viable thing that they want to step in if needs be, and making certain that your business continue to succeed as you want it to.
Exactly. Yeah, that's an important criteria as well, that they care for you and your business. Because if not, then things can go even more sideways. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's such, yeah, and I think that's why I really like that idea. And not many people have talked about that, and see, it's really so simple and basic, but it's an overlooked area, that we just kind of take for
totally.
granted, but we just overlook this as something that's really very important. So I'm glad that you are including that in this backup plan, and helping people to figure out how to go about doing that, who to choose, and what that person will be, how they will serve as this go-to person should in case something happens. I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. I do have people I talk to, but not in a sense of like, okay, here's what's happened, here's what you might need to do. So I'm sure you have other things you'll mention in your program that will help a person to understand what role that person serves. So at least you have mentioned that. So what else might be something that we need to know when it comes to a backup plan?
Well, specifically, a backup plan is a standard operating procedure, an SOP. So, a guide of a step-by-step guide of what you want in your business, or how you want a certain process to be executed in your business. So, if anybody is familiar with writing SOPs, so this will be like eating cake, but the I mean, the topic is as pleasant as eating sand. Let's be blunt. You have to. I'm glad you're enjoying yourself.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's a bit morbid, so let's just make it fun,
Thank you.
because we don't really want to get into any negative energies,
Right.
and
I agree
okay.
100%.
So yeah, the thing is, we have to use our imagination to conjure up some unpleasant situations, but it needs to be done so that we can take informed decisions, or no, that's not the word I was looking for. Sorry, in my mind I have like three languages, so
No, and I was going to say that I really love the beautiful part about how you're trying to, in your brain, trying to bring out the how to translate and all that. What language is your primary language, and what other languages you speak? Just for the audience sake, to see that we're speaking to somebody here, not just who understands backup plan, but also is a linguist to some degree.
you're right. See, I totally forgot to introduce myself. See?
There you
Okay.
go.
Okay, let's start at the beginning. Well, I'm Spanish, as you can maybe tell by the accent. No. Actually, Spanish should be my primary language, but
Okay.
I don't really speak it anymore on a regular basis. So I notice when I speak to my mom or friends that I'm kind of losing it. So my primary language now is German, because all my clients are German speaking, actually Swiss, and then there's the English, because I'm in different trainings, which all are in English, and I'm building this up in English. I'm promoting in English. So these are the two main languages I use actually in this point in time. So And coming back to your very first question,
Uh-huh.
I think you asked me who I am and how I got here, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, okay, well, I started my entrepreneurship more or less 2.5 years ago during the first lockdown.
Wow.
And I started actually as a VA, and but I come from a corporate world. I 15 years plus I worked as an executive assistant in communications and human resources. So from the human resources part is where the processes and systems come from. That's where I first got in touch with SOPs and procedures and processes, and I thought, I like this. So yeah, I quickly noticed during my VA time that my clients needed someone on a more strategic level. So I went and got a training on online business management. And then shortly after that, I transitioned into online project management. So the difference between OBM and OPM is an online business manager is like a CEO in your company, like um, yeah, like a director, but
Mhm,
virtually.
mhm.
And an online project manager just comes in, does the work, does the project, and leaves again. So basically, we leave the company better than we found it.
Ah,
But that doesn't mean that I can't work over and over with the same client again,
right.
but within projects. So being a scanner as I am and chasing this shiny object every day, all day. So I like jumping into different projects and yeah, finishing up something and starting up something new.
Mhm.
So online project management is perfect for me because I get to pick. I don't know, this maybe it's a German saying, I get to pick the raisins, so yeah, that's basically where I come from.
Mhm.
And the business backup plan started actually because, um, I had a client who had a certain situation, and then we had to kind of like set up a plan for her to take care of her business. And that's kind of when the idea started, and I started asking other people in my masterminds and networking groups if they had a backup plan for their business. And basically all of them said no, I don't. And that is something that everybody needs.
Mhm.
And a few of them, they already had something happen in their life, and they most of them said, I wish I had this back then
Mhm.
when I got the diagnose or when I had this accident. So that's when the idea came, and I was like, okay, I'll do a workbook. And so I did the whole workbook, and then I started, okay, so how do I bring this out? And so the two programs I'm into, two of my mentors, they just went and said, this is huge. You need to bring this out big time. I was like, okay, I'm listening. And it was like mini course, boot camp, online course, blah, blah, blah. I was like, whoa, okay, that's not what I had in mind, but I guess I can try. So here I am now, 3 days away from my first camp ever. So, and Kingsley, if it's okay with you, I would just explain a little bit about the boot camp and what it is.
Yeah, and I'm gonna just I like to do that really quickly, but I would want to kind of
Sure.
underscore something you said. I think it's so important because some people need to understand that what you're bringing to the table is not just something that you kind of came up with overnight. It's not that you just kind of say, hey, it's a whim. You had background, you had the corporate background, you have been in the human resource side. You understand standard operating procedures. You understand how things work behind the scenes and what's so important. So you're bringing a vast knowledge into this thing that somebody who, and of course, as a, online business manager and online product manager, all right, OPM. Is that it right?
Project.
Yeah. Oh, online.
Online project manager.
Yeah, online business and online project, right? So,
Perfect.
right, and I think that is very important because somebody who may be listening and be thinking, well, where is she getting this idea? It's not just pulling that out of the air. It's something that you've seen is so important for corporate companies to have. And they, of all people, know the importance of that. You're just taking that whole thing and bring it down to the level where we are and say, hey, guys, in the big, in the corporate world, this is what they do. And this is what made them so successful and keep things going when crisis happens. And I'm just wanting you to also succeed. I want you to also have what they have. You may not have the big bucks, but hey, this is something that can help you to protect your business, protect you, and give you a peace of mind. Why not? So I wanted to make sure I underscore and highlight that because someone listening needs to understand who it is that's presenting and talking about the need for a backup plan. So I didn't want to skip over that because that needed to be underlined, underscored, and highlighted. And I wanted to mention that before you get into the business backup plan situation.
Beautiful. I mean, thank you so much for summing that up so beautifully. That's
Yeah.
perfectly said. Thank
Yeah, I
you.
think well deserved. I mean, you earned it. You earned it, Miriam.
Oh,
So let's talk
thank you,
about this. We have a
Kingsley.
boot camp that's coming up. Here's an opportunity to get into Miriam's world and learn a bit more firsthand what this looks like. So tell us about this boot camp that you have.
Sure. Should I share some slides here for
If
people
you
to
will, yes, that'd be
yeah,
fine.
easier for people to follow along. So let me just share that again, and you can just add it to the stream. So this is basically the roadmap, like a 20,000-foot view of what the business backup looks like. The starting point is where most online business owners are right now. They may be, well, most of them unaware of the importance of having a backup plan, or they might already be in a situation where they are aware they need one, but don't know how or where to start. So the end point and goal of my business backup is to help onlinepreneurs, online business owners create a solid contingency plan so they don't have to worry about shutting down their business or managing their recurring bills from a hospital bed. So to create the business backup, I came up with the DNA formula, my unique 3-pillar system. The DNA stands for decide, notify, and assess. So each pillar is broken down into 3 actionable steps. And the first pillar is all about making the important decisions. We start by deciding, as I mentioned, who to entrust with the task of managing our backup plan. Not even our business, but our backup plan, which is more important. Well, not more important than the business, but if our person of trust is our spouse and he doesn't have a single clue about entrepreneurship, then it doesn't make any sense to appoint him to manage our business. But it makes sense to entrust him with the execution of our business backup plan. So anyways, as I said, this is the most important decision, right? Your backup plan will stand and fall depending on who you choose as your person of trust. So the next step would be we would be painting out the different scenarios and hence making our decisions based on these situations. And the third step is about documenting your detailed instructions on how to handle each situation. The second pillar is about notifying the right people the right way. So we prioritize who needs to know first, and then we look at how to trickle it down to other people relevant to our company with instructions and on tasks that need to be executed. And step number 6 is about the logistics of notifying clients and contractors by taking into account agreements and contracts we may have with them. And the third and last pillar, we will take inventory of systems, software, and finances to assess what actions need to be taken. So we start by documenting all logins and passwords and to keep them in a safe place, but accessible, of course, for a person of trust in case of emergency. And in steps 9 and 8, we'll be listing all tools, systems, and business-related software, as well as payment details and instructions on how we want these handled. So yeah, well, basically the whole process is actually quite simple, but it takes time to gather all the information and details, especially if your business has been around for a while. But once it's done, it's well worth the effort and will only need to be updated once or twice a year, or when a significant change occurs in your business. So I know for a fact, and because I've been there and done that doing all this by yourself can be quite overwhelming. And if you're watching right now, you're probably thinking that setting up a plan to protect your business sounds complicated, is complicated, and time consuming. And you would be right. It is. But, and that's a big but, it doesn't have to be. You don't have to go through all this by yourself. So introducing, drumroll, introducing my business backup bootcamp. So Kingsley, if I may, I'd like to extend a special invitation to your audience to join my 5-day business backup bootcamp on June 27th. That's this next Monday, where we'll be going through the DNA formula and the 9 steps together. And at the end of the 5 days, you will have your business backup plan set and ready to go. And just to give a quick overview of what we will be seeing on those 5 days. So on day 1, we will be going into more detail about what is a backup plan, what it needs to contain, and how to structure it. Days 2 to 4, we will deep dive into each pillar of the DNA formula. And on day 5, we will put all the compiled information together to store it in a safe place until needed, wrap it up, customize it, forget it. And then you will also get small actionable tasks as homework each day, and a workbook to follow along with the 5 days, which includes questions to help you make your decision based on different scenarios, worksheets, and downloadable spreadsheets to take inventory of your online assets and finances, and also access to my secret Facebook group to help you stay accountable, plus Q&A sessions at the end of each training to answer all your questions. Now, let me catch my breath. Now, this is actually planned to be a paid event, but because it's my first time running it, well, truth be told, I'm doing this completely for free in exchange for a review or testimonial from everyone who joins. Sounds fair enough, right? So, and if I may, I would also like to extend a gift to everybody watching. Here's a little something to get you started. This is the Business Backup Roadmap, which you can download, and includes a short explanation of each of the 9 steps of my DNA formula. So I think the link is running underneath the screen. So yeah, catch it there, download it, and maybe see you on Monday. Any questions, Kingsley? Do we have any comments from
No, I haven't
people
seen the comments
watching?
coming in yet, but what I think is so important though
Okay.
is that to know that you're offering this, and I think which is so what you said earlier, which is so key, that this will be a paid, going forward, a paid program that you put together, but you're making it available all of this is for FREE, free. And it's happening on June 27th. So that means you don't have much time really to actually get in on this. And I believe that you won't be in any way disappointed, because here's what I mentioned earlier. Miriam is bringing years of experience. She's speaking from a first, person place where, having had the background in corporate, having had as a online business manager, business product manager, also all her years of learning and trying different things, put it all together that you can have. And here's an opportunity for you to have that. I can't think of anything better to do than just this. So I want to encourage you. Make sure today that you sign up. And here is, and he's to also offer you a free roadmap. And you see the link right there, and the crayon is scrolling at the bottom. So it's bit.ly/bb dash roadmap. Very simple. So bit.ly slash BB dash roadmap. That is where you can go and get um your free roadmap today, right? And in preparation for the upcoming boot camp. And so the boot camp is where you want to go and actually make certain that you sign up. Okay, sign up and be a part of this, because she's gonna bring you the goods. And to me, I think that was very, very helpful. I even learned some things. For me, when I saw this, I didn't have a full understanding of it. You made it where I'm thinking, I need this. I need to have, to be in on this to learn something. Because even thinking about, you share one of the awesome, one of the secret sauce, right? You share one, there's others to come. But the idea of having accountable to somebody who you can really kind of entrust and who can understand. But what you said so important is, talk with them, engage with them. They have a vested interest in your business. Man, that's a game changer right there. So if that's all you get from today, I want to say there's more to come. So make sure you sign up for this upcoming um, boot camp. Again, here's the link you can see right there, and make sure you can go there. So if you want to write it down right now, go ahead and write it down, or take a screenshot of it so you won't forget it, and you can actually sign up. And let's hear more about what Miriam had to say. So Miriam, I think this was really, I'm excited for you. I'm really excited for you, but also for the people who are going to benefit from this. And I just can't wait for us to get more of what you have and bring to the table.
Oh, thank you, Kingsley. Well, basically, I just want to ask people to help me spread the word. I don't care if they do their business backup plan with me, if they jump up my boot camp or whatever. I just want business owners to get protect their business, because that is so important. I've already heard. I mean, Kingsley, you probably heard as well from someone in our group that got rushed to
Yeah.
hospital.
Tell us a
Was it
story.
last week?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, got rushed to hospital. Will have to undergo surgery, and she was launching her new product just this week was due, right? So she had no plan in place, and she had to rely on friends who don't have anything to do with her business, who didn't know exactly what to do to help her sort her things out. So don't let this happen to you. And even if you're watching and you don't have a business and you're not a business owner, but you do have friends or know people that have a business, share it with them. Care enough to share. Sharing is caring.
I like that. And Miriam, if people who are listening right now want to know even how to follow you and be in your world, because even beyond the boot camp, they want to, because you post some things that are very helpful, some great tips, great insights. You post constantly. So if somebody either missed this one here, they can still follow you and be a part of your world. Where would it be the best place for them
Absolutely.
to follow you, to make certain that they don't they keep up to date on the things you have going on?
Well, I'm very active on Facebook now at the moment. I'm also on Instagram, but Facebook is the sure bet. So if somebody wants to follow me or has questions, they can also send me a DM, direct message, private message, whatever you want to call them. So yeah, that's where people can find me.
And it's at Miriam Valentine as well, right? It's there.
Exactly. Yeah, just plain
Okay.
and simple, Valentine.
Right. And so of course it's MiriamValentine, right? And
Yeah.
Miriam Valentine, that's where you need to go and follow her. And I want to encourage you to do it because she has some very cool posts and some videos and testing out certain things. And she's a lot of fun to watch. So I want to encourage you to follow her on Facebook. You'll see what I'm talking about by going there at Miriam Valentine, Valentine. And you can also see what I see and enjoy like I am her post. So I want to encourage you to do that. So Miriam, any last final words that you want to say to our audience before we wrap things up here today on this show?
No, well, that was it. Just care enough to share and help me spread the word, help me make this big, because every business owner needs it. And actually, I'm thinking maybe private. Also had a few like impulses from people. Hey, private people would need this too. So maybe that's for next year, a project for next year. But just help me spread the word, share it, and yeah, so sign up for the bootcamp if you're interested in getting your backup plan for your business in 5 days. And that's it.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Kingsley, for having me.
Of course. And I want to say this, Miriam's, she's very modest, very kind, very nice. She said to help me. But listen, it is helping yourself. This is for you. This is your backup plan for your business. So I want to say to you, she really may not say it this way, but I'm going to say to you, do this for your business. If it's truly a business that you care about, that is important to you, why wouldn't you do this? Why wouldn't you want to do this? So yes, I understand. Yes, I get the message out, which is important. But listen, this is for something you have cherished, is your baby. You have put life's sweat and blood and tears in. Come on. If you can't do it for your business, then maybe you should not be in business. So I want to encourage you to do it for you. And I just share the message. And that's what I want to say on her behalf. She may not want to say that. She's so kind and nice and sweet, but I'm that guy who's not nice and kind and sweet. So I'm going to say it.
You're so great. That's beautifully said. Thank you, Kingsley.
You're welcome, Miriam. So thank you for being here, Miriam. I do appreciate your time out of your busy schedule to be here with us and sharing with my audience this very, very, very important aspect of our business. So with that said, I want to say thank you for your time and make sure you share this with others and let them get in as well. Don't be selfish. With that said, my friend, thank you for being here. And from my heart to yours, peace out. God bless. And I'll see you on the flip side. We're out of here.
Thanks. Bye.